this video I am going to give you an overview of EViews 10 software package. So here on the taskbar I have EViews icon. So click on it. So EViews 10, this is startup screen, and it is giving us certain message that create a new work file, open an existing file, or open a foreign file such as an Excel. And if you have some recent data files, then all those files will be shown here in the recent files. And if you want to get support or help, so here are certain options: EViews help, online tutorials, and EViews illustrated. At the top we have the menu bar containing the usual options: file, edit, object, view, proc, quick options. Most of the time we will be using this object and procedure, proc, and the quick menu. And even you can use additional windows as well, but these are the most commonly used menu items. And below this menu bar we have the command bar. So here we usually type commands, and there are two tabs, command and capture. So if command tab is selected, then we can type commands, and capture contains the record of what we do in EViews. So whether we use menus or we write commands, each single thing that we will perform on any data set, the commands that work behind those menu items or those dialog boxes, that are actually captured in the capture window. So here this black portion is called the EViews work area, and here generally several different windows are displayed, so and we can work with them. And at the bottom we have this welcome to EViews. This is status bar, welcome to EViews message, and this portion is actually giving us the path of the file. And then we have the database equals none. So currently we are not working on any database, and WF equal none, it means no work file. So that's a quick overview of this. What I'm going to do, I don't want to create a new work file, EViews work file by clicking on this. Instead we can do the same job by going to the file menu and choosing new. So for now just click on cross. So now first thing that I'm going to do is to create a new work file. So go to the file menu and then choose new, and then in the sub menu select work file. So click here. So here is a new dialog box with the title work file create. So and now work file structure type. So now we need to provide some details. So the default chosen option is the dated or regular frequency. If you are using time series data that occurs at regular intervals, so we need to select this dated option, which is regular frequency. And if you are using cross-sectional data, so that is unstructured or undated. Please note that if you are using time series data, then of course you cannot shuffle the observations, because any data point or any observation that occurs in the year 1980, say, so that will occur after the observation for the year 1979. So there is some systematic order, systematic pattern. But if we are using cross-sectional data is undated, unstructured, so we can shuffle the data. And the third one is the balanced panel. If you are dealing with panel data, then you need to select this option. So I'm going to cover first two options one by one in this tutorial. So and then we will have a separate video on the balanced panel case. So first select this unstructured, undated option. When you click on it, and then we see here this dialog box is asking us to provide the data range and observations. Here we need to provide just the total number of observations. Like we have cross-sectional data containing 50 data points, we need to provide here 50. So that's it. So let's go to the Excel software and use this hypothetical data set that we have in Excel spreadsheet. So this data is hypothetical data. These are just random numbers, uniform random numbers between 0 1 that I generated using rand command. So let's say this is our data, and The data contains 16 observations on each of these three variables y, x1 and x2. Simply copy it and here come to the EViews window and you need to put here 16. So we have 16 observations, so you need to type 16 here, the total number of observations, and at the bottom it is asking us to provide work file names. So WF name, so suppose I add here regression, so simple reg. So we will come to these two options next dialog box where you will see that what this page means and what this WF. So this name is actually important because this is the name of the file, work file that on which we will work. So click on OK once you are done. So here is a new dialog box. This is the work file. We have designated this name, regression, and this is located in this path, C users Mumtaz documents regression, and if you extend this .wf1, wf1 is the extension of this work file. And here now you can see that C users Mumtaz document, this is the path, and work file is now we have the name of the work file. Previously it was none. And now this is our work file and it is giving us this range 1 to 16 observations. So total range and then sample 1 to 16. If let's say you want to do the analysis only on first 14 observations, so then you can reduce the sample. You can set the sample to only 14 observations. Instead of 1 to 16, you can set it to 14, 1 to 14, or even you can change the starting number like 5 to 16 or 5 to 11. So it's up to you. So you can adjust this sample and all the analysis that will be done on this sample data. So on the chosen sample range. So actually this sample can be reduced part of this whole data. And by default this EViews, it creates these two objects, the C or beta or constant and then the resid. Resid object, it holds the residuals of the most recent regression that is run in the EViews. Suppose you run one regression and the residuals produced by that regression will be stored in this resid object. And if let's say you run a second regression, the residuals obtained from the second regression will be stored in this resid object by overwriting the previously stored residuals. So this is how this resid object works. And if you want to keep the residuals of the first regression as well, then you can create a new variable, and we will learn how that new variable is created in this within this EViews. And here are the pages. So recall that we provided the name of the page as simple_reg. So and then we have here another tab of new page. If we want to work on multiple data sets within this same work file, the name of the work file is regression. If we want to currently we are working on this page, simple reg. Let's say I want to create another file here and I want to do separate page for the multiple linear regression, suppose. So then that can be performed here. Or if you want to do some sort of additional data, a new data set like panel data or time series data, that data can also go to this new page. So once we have the basic settings, now the next task is to copy that data set. This data set that is available here in Excel. Now I'm going to shift this data set to EViews. There are a number of ways that can be done. The simplest one is by going to the quick menu and then selecting this option empty group edit series. So click on this. When you click on this, a new window like Excel spreadsheet appears. So all you need to do is, we have already copied it, but just for clarity, reselect this data set, right click and copy it, and then coming to the EViews window, and here please note that we have copied the column headings. These are the labels or headings. If you want to use the column names as well, the first row of this data set, it contains headings. You want to use this, then you need to scroll up one time by clicking on this scroll up bar. Once you click on this scroll up, then you have this cell, right click on it and choose paste. Once you choose paste, data gets pasted here. So now you can see that at the top row we have the variable names, and then at serial number 1 we have the first data points, and it goes up to 16, row number 16. So once you are done with this, if you scroll this window rightward slightly, and here on your work file you can see we have these three names, x1, x2 and y. So it means the data has been pasted successfully. By the way, if you look at this title bar, group untitled, so it is currently untitled. So if you want to give the name to this this group containing three variables, you can click on this name button. By the way, this is optional thing. Anyway, when you click on this name button, here is a new dialog box with name, object name and name to identify object. Now this subject, it contains these three columns, these three variables. The first one is y, second one is x1 and next one is x2. And let's say the default name for this is group 01, and let's say we use data 1 as data as the name of this subject, and click on OK. When you click on OK, here is a new object with name this data. So that has been created, and you can see that here the group is data. Now you can click on this cross button to close this. Now whenever you want to see this data, these three variables together, they have been grouped into one object, and the name of object is data. You can click on it and you will see all the three columns here. And let's say if you want to see only x1, you can simply double click on x1. So this is series x1, and then similarly you can click on x2 and y. If you want to open both x1 and x2, click on x1 and then press the control key from your keyboard and select x2 as well. Once these two, or if you want to add y as well, you can select that one. Let's say we want to open x1 and x2 together. So select both and now right click, and in this menu choose open, and in the sub menu choose the first option as group. Once you click on this, now you can see that we have a group containing these two variables, and the name of group is untitled. If you again want to save this, you can click on name button and you can provide any name that this group contains two variables x1 and x2. If you don't want to save it, you can cancel it and you can click on the cross sign as well. When you click on cross sign, it gives you a warning message that whether you want to delete this untitled group or you want to save it with some group name. So I want to delete this untitled group. So click on yes. Once you click on this, so this is our data file that has been created. If you click on this capture tab, so this capture contains the history of all the commands. So we have performed several functions. We have created this work file, we have copied the data, and then we have created this group with the name data, and then we opened x1, x2 series as a group, and then we deleted that untitled group. So here is a list of all the commands that have been captured. So if you go at the top, wf create, so this created a work file, and wf equals regression with name regression, and page, we have named this page as simple underscore reg, use 16, u for unstructured, and 16 mean total 16 data points. And similarly there are several additional commands. If you are a good programmer, so you can use this information from the capture. So this is a new feature that is added to the EViews. So simply do what? select all these commands, right click, select copy, and then go to the file menu, new, and program, and here you can paste it. So all these commands are available here. If you want to save this, you can make your own program, and you can give here any name. So whatever name you want to assign, and then later if you want to use the same commands, so you can simply run this program. So currently we don't need this. I'm just minimizing it. So that was just a side note. And by the way, if you click on command window, so here we have again the command window. We have set up our work file now. Go to the file menu and click on save or Control S. So now we see a new dialog box. The name of the dialog box is work file save, and series storage. Single precision is 7-digit accuracy, and double precision is 16-digit accuracy. So by default is this double precision, and prompt on each save. If you don't want this EViews to prompt you to show you this dialog box each time when you press the save button, you can uncheck this box. Currently it's good practice to keep this checked. And then the third here option is use compression. There is no need to select that, so simply click on OK button. So our work file is complete. Now next task that I want to perform is to do one simple regression in EViews. So go to the quick menu, and the second last option is estimate equation. So we want to estimate a regression equation. So select this, and here is a new dialog box. The name of the dialog box is equation estimation, and it contains two tabs. First one is the specification, next one is the options. Click on this specification, which is the default object, and it is appeared here with all these options. So just read what is written here on the dialog box. Everything is quite simple and easy. So equation specification, dependent variable followed by list of regressors, so including ARMA and PDL terms. So these are advanced topics. So autoregressive moving average and polynomial distributed lag terms. So we will cover these topics in our future videos. So currently I'm just focusing on this portion, dependent variable followed by list of regressors. So in our case we have data on three variables, y, x1 and x2. So y in our case is dependent variable. So just type y. When you type y and the variable is available here, so you will see this list. So if you want to change the variable, you can select on any other variable. So currently y, and then put a space. So this completes this first thing, dependent variable. And next followed by after this y, list of regressors. So whatever regressors you want to add, that should be put here. So their list should be put here. So C for intercept or constant, and then x1 is the first regressor and x2 with second regressor. So just y space C space x1 space x2. And if you have, let's say, any other regressor, you can add as many as you want. In our data set we have only these two variables, x1 and x2, and we are actually estimating this model with y as dependent variable and x1 and x2 as two independent variables, and we have included this constant term as well. So this completes this story, dependent variable followed by list of regressors. And if you are using advanced ARMA and PDL terms, so then you can use that. So currently we are not using those advanced models. We are sticking to this basic linear regression model containing two independent variables. So it is just a multiple linear regression model. So this is one way of writing things. Or we can do the same job by writing an explicit equation like y is equal to C1. C stands for coefficient 1 within parentheses plus C2 second coefficient, the first coefficient plus second coefficient asterisk x. So if you don't like this format, you can simply write in a proper equation form. So I'm going to run the regression using both forms. So first using this form, and then I will choose this second option. Once you are done with this specification window, now come to here at the bottom, estimation settings. Method LS stands for least scarce, and you can click on this drop down menu and we see several other options: two-stage least square, GMM, limited information, maximum likelihood. There is a large family of models that are generally used in econometrics. So we will cover these methods in our forthcoming videos. So I'm just choosing this first default method, the least square or ordinary least square method. And now next is the sample 1 to 16. Note that our data range is from 1 to 16. If you want to adjust this sample, let's say instead of all 16 data points, we can adjust it to fewer number of observation like 14. So 1 to 14. Now this regression model, it will be estimated only on first 14 observations, and even you can reduce it to 10, or even you can change the starting point 2 to 10. So now observation number 1 will not be used, as well as observation number 11 to 16. So once you are done with this, I'm retaining this sample range same. So once you are done with this, so click on OK button. So this will run a regression by taking y as dependent variable, x1 and x2 as two independent variables, and including an intercept in the model. By using ordinary least square method, the parameters will be estimated, and the sample size is 16 observations starting from observation number 1 to 16. And before clicking OK, here in the options tab we have several additional options. If you are well aware of econometric methods, then you can play with these additional options. Currently I am not going into the details of this, and we will cover these topics when we will cover some advanced econometrics topics. So still sticking to the specification window, and simply click on this OK button. Once you click on OK button, so you will see this window, which is the equation window. So this is equation or regression equation. So this is the regression output. So it says that dependent variable is y, method is least square, date and time, and then the sample 1 to 16 and included observation 16. The first column gives you the name of the variable, C for constant, or intercept x1 and x2. These are the estimated values of coefficients. So, and this is first estimated coefficient, second the coefficient of x1 and the coefficient of x2, and then next column gives us the estimated standard errors. This is standard error of first estimated coefficient, and so on, and then the corresponding t statistics and the corresponding probabilities. Since we have used the random data, so that's why we can clearly see that both regressors are individually insignificant. So with p-value around 32% and 67%. R square is also very low. Adjusted R square is negative. So this also gives you an indication that this is a very bad fit. So standard error of regression and sum of squared residuals RSS, and then log likelihood, F statistic for joint significance, and the p-value of F statistic is also, it is indicating that this is a bad fit, totally complete failure. However, in this video the objective is not to interpret these numbers. The objective is to explain to you the mechanics of performing this regression, and in a later video we will take some real world problem, and then we will demonstrate and we will interpret all the numbers. And this mean of dependent variable, y is dependent variable. If you click on this y series, and now if you take the average of these y values, so that is generally shown here, mean of dependent variable. And similarly, if you take the standard deviation of same y series, it is this 0.25. And then the Kaiki info criterion, Shavaz criterion, and Hanan-Quinn. So we will come to these when we will cover the time series topics. And then the Durbin-Watson, we will also cover this in a later video. So once you are done with this, You can save this equation as well by clicking on this name button and save equation 1 or regression. Click on OK, and this regression equation is saved here. So this is all about running a regression in EViews using this quick menu item. So now we again go to the quick and this estimate equation, and now this time instead of writing this YC x1 x2, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this OR method or an explicit equation like this: y equals c1 plus c2 times x1 plus c3 times x2. So this will estimate this multiple linear regression model where c1 is the first coefficient, c2 is the second coefficient, and c3 is the third coefficient. And there are two variables, independent variables x1 and x2, and we have an intercept in the regression model as well. And below settings are same, least square method, 1 to 16 observations. So simply click on OK. So this here we see the C1, C2, C3, first coefficient, second and third. And if you compare this equation with the previous one, so you can see the coefficients, they are exactly the same, standard errors are also same, and rest of the numbers are also same. So you can run a regression both ways, either by writing the full equation specification by going to the estimate equation in the quick menu, or you can simply write this explicit equation as well. So it's up to you which method you adopt. So this is all about running a simple or multiple linear regression model. By the way, if you go back to this quick estimate equation in the quick menu, so this menu can also be obtained, so here from this window. So in this window you can simply click on this estimate button. Once you click on this estimate button, you will see this dialog box again. So this is our equation, the same equation, and now if you drop this x2, then of course this is the simple linear regression model which has only one variable x1. But if you include this x2 as well, so then this is of course the multiple linear regression model. So now we have explained that how you can estimate a simple linear regression model as well as multiple linear regression model in EViews. Now the next task is to enter time series data. So recall that I'm just extending this window in the vertical direction. So recall that this is just 1 to 16 observation and this is cross-sectional data. Now the objective is how we can add a time series data within this EViews. So again, going back to this data, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this data set here, and suppose I add here a time index, and let's say this is year index, and suppose I start with 1990. I'm just creating hypothetical data, 1991, and I'm selecting it to copy it up to 2005. So this is our new data, and now this is time series data. These values are for the year 1990 and next values are 1991. Suppose you have some real time series data, or in this case I have created this hypothetical time series data containing three variables y, x1 and x2. Now how to enter this data which is time series into EViews. So look at the data range. It starts at year 1990 and it goes up to 2005. So go to the EViews. There are two ways which can be adopted. One, you can add the data in the same work file. This work file name is regression, or you can create a new work file. I'm going to explain you both ways. So if you want to create a new work file, that method I'm going to explain first. So go to the file menu, new, and then in the sub menu choose the work file. Once you click on this work file, here is work file create a dialog box, and now we need to select this dated regular frequency because now we are using time series data that is occurring at a regular interval, at regular frequency. And here in the date specification we have now options: frequency, annual frequency, multi-year, semi-annual, quarterly, monthly, bi-monthly, and daily, 5 day a week or 7 day a week, and even intraday, and even you can set custom week or weekly data, so integer date. So there are number of options. In our case we have this annual data, and then the start date. Start date in our case is 1990 and end date 2005. And again here you can add regression time series. You can provide any suitable name, and this is here page is optional. Now in this time I'm not going to add the name of the page. So click on OK. So this is a new work file. The previous work file is shown here and its name is regression, but this work file, its name is regression underscore time series. And now look at this. Since we have not provided page name, so it is showing as untitled. And again look at this, these same two objects, they are available here. And look at the range 1990 to 2005, 16 observations, and sample is the same. So rest of the options are exactly the same. Now go to the quick menu, click on empty group edit series, and here is a group untitled. The first row is 1990. Since in the Excel sheet now we want to copy shift this data set, and we want to keep the column names, column headings, variable names as well in the first row. So Control C for copy, and here you need to, this is vertical scroll bar, you need to scroll it up. So this is very important step. Once you scroll it up, you will see a blank row here. So this blank row will contain the variable names. So right click and select paste. So now you can see that the labels have been pasted here, variable names. So data has been correctly pasted here. Now if you look at this data set, this work file, so you see these three objects. So the rest of the method is exactly the same as we did in case of cross-sectional data. So if you want to save this file, you can click on name box, and if you don't want, you can simply click on cross button. When you click on this cross, now it is asking us delete untitled groups. Okay, yes. So this is our data. And another method is, if you go back to this previous work file regression where we have our cross-sectional data, and now let's say you want to add all the data in one work file. So here we have this one work file, this one is the second work file, but if you want to keep all the process in single work file, then you can put them in different pages. The first one is simple underscore reg, and now click on this new page button. When you click on this, you will see this menu. So look at the first option. Specify by frequency range, specify by identifier series, or copy extract from current page, etc. There are a number of options that are available, but you need to select this first option, specify by frequency / range. When you click on this, you will see the same dialog box. So this is how it is done. So click on this. So we have this work file create dialog box. So now you can select this regular frequency, and here in the frequency you can select this again annual, and now start date 1990 and end date 2005, and work file name, because we are working in the same file, so work file name is already given. We have chosen the work file name regression, and now you can use the page name. You can provide if you want, otherwise this page, new page, here we will see untitled. Let's say I add here time series and click on OK. So here is our page time series, and if you want to, let's say, upload a panel data, so you can again click on this and you can specify this, and here you can select the third data, or even if you have, let's say, another cross-sectional data or another time series data, so you can select from these this work file create option dialog box. I'm just going to click on this cross button, or you can simply click on this cancel button. So here is our time series page. The range is from 1990 to 2005. So now go to the quick menu and select empty group, and here again scroll one time up and right click and select paste. So the data has been pasted here, and you can click on cross and delete the untitled group. So you can work in the same file. If you click on this previous page, you see this file. If you click on this, you see this. So now how to run the time series regression? The idea is same. Go to the quick estimate equation, and here in the estimate equation YC x1 x2 and least square. Now the sample is from 1990 to 2005. If you want to adjust, you can adjust it, let's say, from 1992 to 2005. Click on OK button and click on yes. Delete untitled, click on yes. So this is how this equation can be estimated in this EViews software. Now the last thing that I want to do is we can run a regression using this command window as well. So in the command window, type ls. ls stands for least square, and then y c x1 x2. So this will estimate least square equation or least square regression model by taking y as dependent variable, x1 and x2 as two independent variables, and keeping an intercept in the model. So the coefficients of this model of this regression equation will be estimated by using ordinary least square method. So once you are done with this, press enter. So this here we see a dialog box, delete untitled. This equation is untitled, that is opened here. So if you want to keep this equation, so you can simply click on this no button, and you can click on this name button to provide a suitable name. So that equation will be saved in your work file and a new equation will be estimated. But if you don't want to keep this equation, so this window will be replaced by a new estimated window. So click on yes. So here is a new window, and we have the same 16 observations, and this is our new regression model. So now we have covered how we can estimate a simple as well as multiple linear regression model on both cross-sectional and time series data within this EViews software package. So one last thing that we can do is simply by clicking on this capture tab, so and we can see all the commands here. So page select simple regress, page select this time series, and then this equation least square. If you know the syntax, you can follow work file select and so on. So this capture tab is a good, it contains the history, and later we can use all these commands or some suitable command that we want to use when we want to keep in our program. So that's it, and at the end you can save this file.